Hello, my beautiful souls. I'm your host, Ten. This is my personal vlog where I talk about spiritual and emotional wellness related stuff, and sometimes I'll put in a personal story or two and kind of dive into some really important concepts for us all. And so something I've been kind of playing around with is, what happens if, why... So, okay, let's say that you are a YouTuber and you are getting flooded with a lot of negative comments about people who think they know who you are, and they will tell you exactly who they think you are, or you're getting a message from a toxic friend and they're trying to manipulate you, hurt you. Someone of power is trying to, or someone who thinks they have power is trying to put you down. Have you ever gotten like a text or email where someone wanted you to feel really bad, but your body had a emotional stress response because it remembers occurrences when you didn't feel safe? There was an unknown thing about your safety. Like, am I going to be okay? And so your body has this prepared thing, and it does red alarm, we're in danger, we need to either attack or run away or something. And we have these stress hormones that flood our body that and these thoughts and beliefs that convince us that we're not safe. And so as I kind of like sat there trying to sleep, I was like, well, is that just another part of our brain that's telling us things, but it's not really true? It's lying to us, or it thinks it's telling us the truth, and it's just not. And so I kind of realized in that moment where I was like, you know what? There's probably been a lot of times when I was younger and I had these social interactions and I felt unsafe because someone was telling me how they felt about me, or my behaviors and my actions, my choices, their approval rating, and I felt deeply unsafe because I think when I was younger, my sense of well-being and safety was connected to how people valued me for some weird reason. Think about it. Where we are, if you're not, I mean, it's so funny because there's, with autism, are we social beings or are we not? But I think in general, the human race is a social creature. And so if you think about the fact that in order to be safe in a culture and society, you have to belong, it can play some mental havoc in who you are. Because as a young person, a kid, you have to belong in your family to be safe. And that's sometimes why sometimes you can get, I think personally, why herd mentality works out the way it does, and why sometimes people shit on the scapegoat because they're trying to protect themselves from the parents or the family members that they deem as unsafe. And so in order to feel safe themselves, they attack the same individual. And so when you are engaging with people and you feel unsafe and you think, well, if I don't stand firm in my boundaries, if I don't stand firm, and I'm not talking about inflexible, I'm talking about where you're able to set consequences for those boundaries, saying like, if you do this, I'm gonna take some space. I'm gonna come back to center. I'll check in with you later. Like even something as simple as that. I'm like, I'm just gonna check out for a bit. And if they say, well, if you go do that, we're not friends anymore. Like, if you walk out that door, don't come back. And so you get this flood of emotions going, oh my God, if I respect myself, if I choose myself over you, am I safe? Am I a good person? Am I a bad person? And so your body doesn't know always how to deal with that, because to them it's like they've confused belonging with the lion. Like, ooh, I don't want to die here. I need to belong with you so that we as a group can survive together. If you survive, I survive. It's like a weird loyalty thing going on. And this is just a theory, it's just a theory, but also to some real stuff in the brain, right? Because your fear basically is telling you that in order for you to stay safe, you have to stay with that toxic friend. What's the worst thing that could happen if you walk out that door? The friend doesn't want to talk to you for a while? Is that really such a bad thing? Think about the loss of opportunities that could come your way because you chose fear over yourself. Personal story time. I grew up where I struggled to choose myself over other people because I was scared. I was scared a lot about what to do when someone stood there angry or threatening. I have actually had so many different experiences that it's really hard to pinpoint one really good example. But I've had two major big bad bosses in my life in the mental health, behavioral health field specifically. Actually, most of my bad bosses were in that field. Granted of different levels, but there's just a lot of bad bosses in that field. A lot of people who want to have power over another person. And so there was a person that wanted to manipulate me and have power over me. And something that I think gave me strength when I struggled really hard with those kind of scenarios is this thing that kind of came in my brain, in my dad's voice. And he would say, you know what? If nothing's changing, if people are not going to listen to you, care about you, they don't want to hear your voice, you got feet. Do the talking with your feet. Because that's the only way people sometimes will listen. And even they might not listen, but that has had a profound impact on my life. That little piece of advice from my dad, because of the fact that there's been a lot of really bad relationships, friendships and work bosses and, things like that, that choosing them, would have meant choosing my fear, would have meant not choosing myself. And by walking away and setting limits and boundaries and consequences for them, I was able to kind of find myself again and kind of go through this journey of healing and to feel at home and center in myself and feel deeper, stable peace that I've never experienced my entire life. because when you continuously choose fear over yourself, it just gets naturally reinforced. And so because you never kind of explore, who am I without bending the knee? Who am I if I don't treat myself with respect? Who am I if I do treat myself with respect? It's an odd question to ask in those two different ways, but like, who are you? Who are you? And you're never going to find that out when you choose fear, because fear will confuse you. Fear will distract you. Fear will send you on a silly goose chase. It will tell you you're not valuable. It will tell you you're worthless. It will tell you if you don't do what they demand, then something worse will come your way. And that fear, when you were younger, probably did do a good job protecting you. But as an adult, do you really want it to run your life? How are you supposed to become a more full, whole version of yourself when fear is the boss? You're the boss. I want you to say that. I am the boss. I am the boss, not my fear, not my worries, not my concerns. Sometimes I listen too much to them. Sometimes they do distract me. Sometimes they do tell me lies. Sometimes they are not always giving me the facts. And it's okay when I get confused. It's okay when I get lost. It's okay when I don't necessarily know what the answer is and I go with fear. It's okay, because I'm still learning. I'm still figuring these things out. I'm going to eventually get really, really good at this, whatever this is. And until then, I'm going to practice looking fear in the face and saying, if you don't respect me, I'm going to go out that door. Well, you're worthless without me. You can't go anywhere. If you go somewhere, you're never going to get a job again in the field. Oh, okay. Well, since you're so powerful, right? Okay, why don't you go do that so I can get something better than you? Oh, you think you're going to get something better than me? Oh, do you? I mean, where's the truth in any of those statements? Where's the truth? Because honestly, if you're going to be belittled, that's not truth. If you feeling fear in your chest, that's not truth. If you are feeling small, that's not truth. If you're feeling tight and tense, that's not truth. Truth finds you when you're calm, at center, you've slowed down somehow. Truth will come whispering in your ear really randomly in the middle of the night. You can't sleep, quite inconveniently so. And say, they're not telling you the truth. They want to manipulate you. They want to control you. They want you to feel badly about yourself. Why are you letting them do that? Why are you giving them free space in there? I mean, if you're going to be in there, why don't you just charge more? And I think this is a really difficult concept to actually talk about. Not because, it's because it's so simple that a lot of us think that is so complicated. But I think the healing does take time. The healing does take really good timing, and really does take a lot of practice, a different way of living life and thinking and feeling and doing. But eventually, what you find out is that actually it's always been quite simple and basic, is that the power they have over you is not real, actually. But and you see this with a lot of different types of people who are scared inside. They fear losing control. And so if they can't control you or make you feel less than, if they can't make you feel like you're worthless, if they can't make you feel ugly, what does that mean for them? Like, think about that. Like what if you unexpectedly became really successful, or you had really good emotional well-being, you were having really good relationships again, or just feeling really good, feeling really happy, or you're at peace, things don't bother you like they used to. And so if they were to see you like that, it would make them very uncomfortable, very deeply unsettled, and maybe even a little weirded out, because they're very superficial. They have a very superficial world. Their world is very limited. They can't understand peace. They can't understand calm and slowness. They can't understand what it's like to live life in harmony with the universe. It's very confusing to them. And anything that's confusing may indicate they have no control. And so people who are at peace make people who are not at peace want to make them go away, or make them have less happiness, have less peace, because they want to feel better about themselves, because they don't feel so good about themselves, and they want more control, and they think that if they're better than other people, then they'll be happy. But the problem with that, they'll never be happy, because they'll never be, there's no such thing as better or less in our world. It is a value system that is based on illusions. And because of this, those people who are scared, trying to manipulate you, trying to make you scared, they will never be happy until they stop doing that behavior. Never. They'll never be happy. And you have to distance yourself from them. You do. And when you distance yourself, you'll find more peace, more harmony, because those sort of people, sometimes they change, sometimes they get better, but more often than not, your removal, your departure from their lives is essential, because those kind of people don't change unless some real big catalyst occurs in their life. You don't want to be there when that catalyst occurs. You don't, because what they'll do is they'll grasp on you and try to bring you down with them. Get away from those sort of people. Focus on yourself. Choose yourself. If you do not choose yourself, they will choose themselves and bring you down with them when the catalyst occurs, when the shitstorm happens. That's why if you look at our current recent political history right now, why there's a lot of, I don't want to say names, I don't want to go too political, but there are some people who are running into problems where they're getting hit by fire because there's, like, I'll give you an example. Like, let's say, let's say, like, an example without getting political. Let's say there's this powerful person. He's very corrupt. He's done a lot of bad things, manipulated people because he wants people to do what he wants. And He wants people to make him feel good. He also, too, doesn't like it when people tell him things he does not like, or when people set boundaries with him. And so what happens when someone loses power and control, when a catalyst occurs, and when things start not going their way, is they need a scapegoat. They need someone that takes the blame, the fall guy. We're starting to see that, is that he's starting to get some fall guys going on right now. And so he's a prime example of why it's so important to get away, distance yourself from people like that, because you're never gonna find peace around them. You're just not, especially when the catalyst occurs and things go wrong. I know this is kind of a different video than I thought. I wanted to talk about how the illusion of their control, the illusion, I mean, I'm not saying like maybe because that's invalidating of what's going on right now in this society, but maybe because this is really going on right now, and in real time in our politics. And it is genuinely scary to go through something where someone can potentially power over you. And there's some situations where it's always going to be false. It's always, but you know, in those situations where it's false, it's your brain making things up for you. Here's a tip. Just remind yourself that when you choose yourself, you choose peace. You don't have to say goodbye to someone, but you can say, you know what, I am still safe when I take space for myself. I'm still safe when I take a break. I am still safe when I go out there and do what's good for me. If my friend is going to be a really good friend, they'll respect that. They'll respect the fact that I'm not trying to manipulate them with enforcing my boundaries and my friendship rules. They'll understand that eventually when we're in a calmer state, we'll talk in a more respectful tone and come with a compromise of some kind, or just have a healthier relationship, or work towards that. But if this person is toxic and unhealthy for me, they're going to show me exactly who they are, which is that they're going to continue down the path that they are, which is manipulative, toxic, abusive, verbally controlling, threatening. You know, they're not going to respect me and honor my needs and my hopes for this relationship. And in that case, by walking away, I am freeing myself from the chains of a bad relationship that will go south one day. By leaving now, I am saving myself so much heartache and so much pain, whether it's financially or emotionally. When I leave this relationship, I give myself the permission to be whole and kind and loving to myself. When I honor myself, I tell myself that I am safe. When I honor myself, I tell myself I am lovable, I'm valuable, I'm worthy and deserving. This is such a hard one. And it's really, that's why it's so important for us to value ourselves and to honor ourselves, because you cannot stay forever in a bad situation, because eventually a catalyst will occur, and it's going to suck when it occurs. But when you walk away and choose yourself, you're giving yourself an opportunity for better things to come in your life. You know, I've actually experienced that, where right now I'm in a really good place. I'm in a really better place. I'm around a lot of good people. And to the point where, you know, things mentally are opening up again in my head, where I feel like, you know, I can be myself again, and I can ask myself really important questions of like, who am I? But I also to feel genuinely safe and respected in my work environment. It's like mind-boggling to feel that. Like, I'm like, And that's because I continuously left bad bosses behind. I was like, see ya. I left bad friendships behind, or not even bad friends. There were times where we were just not compatible. Like I'll give you an example. I literally left so many toxic friends, but there was a couple that were just not compatible. It wasn't anything personal about them. It had nothing to do with them. It was really nothing. Like there was nothing wrong with them. It was just like I was like, I can't I can't do this. I can't be this person's friend. It just doesn't make sense. We're not a good match. We're different people, not enough common interests, but also too, I don't feel great when I'm like, I would like literally not feel so great around that person. And they weren't being mean or cruel, like literally were being nice. And I would be like, I just don't want to be here. And that's okay too. It's okay to be like, disappointed and frustrated when a friendship doesn't go the way you expect. So it's really more important to just recognize that and honor ourselves versus forcing ourselves to stick out, because we have this weird illusion of toxic loyalty, like that's what it is. Wouldn't you rather have a healthier form? Wouldn't you be, it's better to be loyal to good people, good places, good situations, good values, you, the good parts of you. And when we are willing to honor and choose the good, more light can come in our way. And that's the truth of it all. I mean, you don't have to listen to me, though. Why would I know? Just someone who's been on the journey for a while. I've been on this road for a while. I have a lot of old content that really say that, I used to do a lot of tarot and channel messages, but I don't do that the stick anymore. I do it for myself, but I don't do it for other people because I didn't feel good doing it. It felt bad. I don't know how to describe it, but it just didn't feel good. And this feels good. I don't know how much I'll do it, how frequently I'll do it. I'm going to go with the flow on that. But in all honesty, at some point, my goal, my ADHD goal, is to get rid of a lot of old videos that don't kind of reflect who I am. And even the way I'm speaking is different from how I used to speak, because this feels good to talk more in a monotone voice. I have the suspicion that I'm a level 3 autistic individual, which means that my natural voice is different from a masking voice. And my masking voice actually really hurts a lot to use. And so, like, I am going to be myself, but also too, I'm going to try to be respectful to you guys. But I'm not gonna pretend. I'm not gonna lie, but I'm not perfect, and I'm not gonna know everything. I'm just kind of here to kind of like give you like a guide of sorts. But that's it. Love and light. Marry me, blessed be. I'm into good health. Bye.